On this sacred and unforgettable evening during Holy Week, Marikina City in Metro Manila came alive in a way that touched the heart and soul. The streets, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, carried the quiet sound of prayers, the gentle murmur of hymns, and the reverent footsteps of hundreds of faithful. There was a palpable sense of devotion in the air, a deep, collective expression of faith passed down through generations. As a child, I had witnessed many Holy Week processions in different parts of the Philippines. The sight of life-sized statues gliding through the streets, the flickering candles held tightly by the faithful, and the solemn music echoing under the night sky always held me in awe. The biblical scenes portrayed on each carriage left a lasting impression, reminders of Christ's suffering, of grace, of sacrifice, and hope. That same wonder returned to me in Marikina. I had long looked forward to experiencing the city's renowned procession, known across the country for having one of the longest and most breathtaking lines of carriages bearing sacred statues. And truly, I was not disappointed. 84 carriages passed before me, each one a masterpiece of devotion, meticulously arranged, beautifully lit, and carried with reverence. The craftsmanship, the symbolism, and the quiet discipline of the entire event moved me deeply. It was more than a procession. It was a deeply spiritual journey, both outward and inward, one I'll carry in my heart for years to come. The streets of Marikina were a reflection of the city's pride and discipline, spotless and immaculately maintained. There was not a single piece of litter in sight, no signs of disrepair, no distractions to take away from the solemnity of the occasion. Every corner, every turn of the route seemed to have been prepared with care, as though the entire city had paused and taken a deep breath to honor the sacredness of the night. Street lights glowed gently overhead, casting a warm hue over the roads, highlighting the gentle flow of the faithful. The movement of people, devotees, families, elders, and children, was calm, graceful, and orderly. There was no pushing, no noise, no sense of rush. Instead, everyone walked as one, in quiet reverence, as though the entire city had become part of a shared, silent prayer. Even the homes and buildings along the route seemed to participate in the solemnity, some with lights dimmed, others with candles flickering by their windows. Spectators stood in stillness, many holding lit candles, some bowing their heads in prayer as each carriage passed. It felt as if the city itself had transformed into a sacred space, where time slowed, hearts opened, and faith was expressed not just in words, but in movement, in silence, and in deep respect. What struck me, too, was the strong sense of careful planning and quiet discipline that guided every part of the procession. This wasn't just a spontaneous gathering of the faithful. It was a deeply organized and thoughtfully executed event that reflected the commitment and cooperation of an entire community. Marshals were stationed along the route, each one calm, focused, and fully present in their roles. Equipped with two-way radios, they maintained constant communication, not just with each other, but with the procession leaders, the church coordinators, and emergency personnel. I noticed how attentively they watched the crowds, gently guiding participants and onlookers with subtle hand gestures and quiet instructions. Their presence was unobtrusive, but essential, like silent guardians ensuring everything flowed as it should. At the tail end of the procession, 2 ambulances slowly followed behind. Their lights were on, a reassuring reminder that safety and care were never far. Inside, trained medical personnel sat ready, prepared to respond at a moment's notice should the need arise. Thankfully, they weren't called into action that night, but knowing they were there brought a sense of peace. This level of preparedness showed the deep respect the organizers had for both the spiritual and practical sides of the event. It was a reminder that devotion is not just about emotion and ritual. It is also about responsibility, awareness, and care for one another. In a world that often feels rushed or chaotic, it was refreshing, moving even, to witness such an event carried out with grace, precision, and dignity. The quiet coordination happening behind the scenes made the procession feel seamless. And for me, as a witness and a Catholic, it added yet another layer of meaning to an already powerful experience. As a Catholic, being part of this night filled me with something that's difficult to put into words. It was more than admiration, more than awe. It was a quiet, overwhelming joy, one that settled deep in my chest and lingered long after the last carriage had passed. In that moment, surrounded by the flicker of candles, the scent of incense, and the gentle murmur of prayers, I felt a renewed sense of connection to my faith. This procession wasn't just a religious event. It was a powerful reminder of who we are as a people. It reminded me that faith doesn't live only in churches or scriptures, but in tradition, in community, and in the way we come together to remember and honor the sacred stories that shaped us. Each statue, each step, each whispered prayer carried echoes of generations past, of grandparents and parents who stood where I now stood, who believed and hoped just as I do. I felt humbled and grateful to be part of something so enduring. It was a reminder that in a rapidly changing world, there are still sacred moments that ground us, bind us together, and remind us of what truly matters. And for that, I was deeply thankful. There were some heritage houses along the route, some dating back to the 19th century. Their antique charm provided a dramatic and beautiful backdrop, connecting the sacred present with the historical past. Being part of this night filled me with something difficult to describe. A quiet joy, a renewed sense of connection to my faith, and a deep appreciation for the enduring traditions that unite us. Marikina's Holy Week procession was more than an event. It was a journey through time, culture, and spirit, a truly unforgettable experience of faith in motion